Good evening, Mary.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm also fine. Today you're my first student, and we're going to discuss difficulties in learning English. So I think we can start. So, oh, I see Alexander here.
Oh, I'm not first.
Oh,
Hello.
unfortunately. But yesterday, as far as I remember, you were the first, yes?
I don't remember.
Oh, you should remember about it. So, how are you today? Alexander?
Oh, yes. How am I?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, and I'm nice.
Are you hungry?
What?
Are you hungry?
Unfortunately, I'm always hungry. I can't cope with it, and that's why I remember myself when I'm eating. It's my life. So, Ulvi, good evening.
Good evening, Nila.
How are you today?
Thank you, I'm fine.
Oh, it's nice also. And I see Kate.
Hi.
Hi. Today you're without camera, yes?
Yeah, it takes a lot of traffic, you know.
Oh, so you have limited internet?
Hmm?
Do you have limited internet?
Yeah. Now
Oh,
I'm at my country house. That's why I have very limited internet here.
so let it be without camera. So how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm also fine. Do you have rest at your
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, it's also nice. And today we'll speak about difficulties in learning English. And first of all, I'd like to ask all of you several questions about your learning English. So the first one is, why did you start learning English, Mary?
Mm, I I don't know. I started learning English very long time ago, and it's only interesting for me, and it's more comfortable when you know this language because you can find more book. It's possible to find sometimes book only in English, and you can watch movie in English. It's also very comfortable when you can understand general meaning. So that's why it's only I don't know interesting, not about work or like some self-development for me.
I think it's a strange reason for reading and watching films because the person has to know English very well in order to read books and to watch TV. So, but it can be so. Ulvi, what about you? Why did you start learning English?
Actually, I started to study English over there 3 years ago. So it's my wish to study abroad in, I don't know, in Singapore or in Europe somewhere. So it's important to know English. Without English, it's impossible.
So, is it the reason why you started learning it?
Actually, yes. And the one thing also, when I see the people who speak in English, it admires me. And I also want to speak.
Oh, it's nice, really. Alexander, what about you?
I started learning English because it was obligatory subject in school.
So it wasn't your free will, yes?
Yes. And after I learned English in school, I thought that if I won't learn English, how to say дальше,
Longer.
longer, it would mean
Would mean.
it would mean that I spent time of learning English to brush. зря.
So
I
you
waste.
just waste your time, yes?
Yes.
So, and when the learning of English started to be obsession for you, because I remember our first lessons when you told that you eat only when you learned English. So,
Sorry, I didn't get.
when did it become your obsession?
Obsession. What does it mean, obsession?
Страсть, навязчивая мысль, I don't know.
Maybe when I visit a foreign country and spoke with foreign people, and I thought that it would be great to know English better. Yeah. And
Yeah. And that. Kate, what about you?
As Alexandra, I started learning English at school, but then I understood that it's easier to find a job when you know any language, and especially English, and that's why I started learning it.
It's very funny because all of your reasons are really so interesting and clever. But when I remember my story, studying of learning English actually started when um, we spoke with my mother, and it was a kind of bet, you know, that she told me that I wouldn't be able to know English. Anyway, but I told her no, I would, and that's why it became my profession. But I think it's very difficult.
I think she did it.
What?
She did it specially.
No, I'm not sure about it because now she tells that she shouldn't do it this time because I was very good at mathematics, and then I gave up everything except in English and literature. So I think she was wrong and she understood it. But in general, I think it's very funny. So the next my question about how long have you been learning English? So I think I shouldn't ask Ulvi about it because he has already told that he has been studying it for 3 years, yes?
Yeah.
Or maybe you started to learn it at school, or no?
Of course. Yeah, I started learning it at school in the 5th class, but just a little that I'm not interested in it. So
But now you're interested. I think it's a problem of the whole pupils that they had some abilities at childhood to learn languages and everything else, but they didn't use this opportunity, and that's why they start to do it maybe I don't know, after school. And I don't know, Ulvi, if you had an opportunity to change the time, so would you like to change the time and come back to school and start learning English as the fifth form?
Actually, I don't know really. Maybe, but I know that our teacher at school, she also not know the English very well. So yeah, she didn't talk with us in English. It's the big problem that we didn't heard the English language. We just learning the words and the grammar, learn the grammar. That's all what we are doing in university. But if she will speak with us in English, it will be possible to learn. I think that.
Oh, it's so deep, but I can't agree with you because it's difficult to speak in English with people who can't understand it, and because I'm also a teacher of English at school, and really it has no sense, in my
I
opinion.
know, but I start in a courses when I start learning English. Then also I can speak, but the teacher speaking in English, so I should tell some words for answering, and in this way I learn a little bit.
So maybe it's also the way, but for some people it's suitable, for some it's not. Alexander, what about you? Can you count for us how long have you been learning English?
I can't count. I have been learning English from since school for many years, but with many big pauses. Yes.
Um, um, Kate, what about you?
I have been learning English since school also, but it also had no sense at school, as you said. Yeah, then I learned English at different courses. It was useless also, and and then I the University of Linguistics, and there was some sense, but best of all, I think learn English with native speakers. When you speak and they correct you, and you should do it every day, then it makes sense.
I'm really sure that all this knowledge you got at school, at courses, were without results.
It was just grammar, you know. I know grammar. I would say pretty well, but I can't use it. You know, when I speak, I can't use it. I use only a very simple word, but I can't use grammar. I know almost all grammar English, you know, English grammar, but it's difficult to use it. You know, I just when I speak with the native speaker, I just forget everything, and just, you know, I'm look like a dog, you know. I can understand everything, but I can't say anything.
I think really the only one person who doesn't forget all grammar is Valery. But unfortunately, he's not with us to remember.
But also without practice, there are nothing.
But I can't agree because at school I learned a lot of words really, and when I started my studying at university, I knew a lot. I had really great vocabulary, and I just got to know grammar, and it became my speech. So I think it was really good basic for learning and then for speaking. So, but it's only my opinion. And Mary, what about you? How long have you been learning?
I also started to learn English in school like everyone else, and continued to do it in university. And I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I started do it for myself without teacher, and maybe 3 years I do it every day.
I think because we have lessons every day.
Without lessons sometimes, but I have to do it every day. It's, I don't know, it's my I don't know why my obligatory by myself. Do
It's
it
nice
and
when you
all.
have such obligatory. So the next question. So, is English difficult, Alexander?
Sorry.
Is English difficult as a language?
The language, I think it's not difficult, I think. Especially English. I think in general, foreign languages is learning of foreign languages is difficult, but English not is not as easiest or not as difficult. The most okay.
So difficult or no, Alexander? Because you told
No.
really great speech, but I didn't understand anything.
Okay. I think English is not difficult language.
So for you, it's not, yes?
Yes.
So Kate, what about you?
I think English is easiest language from all, you know, because I know I also can speak German and a little bit Spanish. And for me, German is very difficult language, and Spanish a little bit easier, but English is the easiest language because there are no not endings or gender or cases, you know. That's why it's easier than other languages.
I have actually a very funny theory about Spanish language that only two phrases you should know in Spanish are que pasa and que tal. I don't know in any situation. So what's wrong and how are you? That's why. So how are you? Someone is speaking to you. Que pasa? What's wrong? That's all Spanish language.
Yeah.
So Mary, what about you? How do you think? Is
I
English
think it's easy language. If English compare with everyone language, it's easier than Russian, because in general English without it, and maybe verb more easier than in other languages.
I think there's the great plus that sometimes verbs looks like actually verbs have the same shape as nouns. So rain and to rain. So snow and to snow.
But for me, difficult it's phrasal verb.
Yeah, it's horrible. So let's add a little thing to verb and everything will be changed. It's a little, I don't know, kind of magic. So, Lviv, what do you think about it?
I also think that the English one of the easiest languages by comparison with Russian language, for instance. But of course, it's too hard when you start something. It's always that you think that everything too difficult. But when you learn a little bit, you saw that there is nothing too difficult. So time by time, everything is changing and becoming easier.
Good. I think Ulvi catch some, I don't know, and now he tries to understand what was it. So, the next question. Is it easy for you to learn English? So, Kate.
Now, yes,
You know practically all grammar, so it's not very difficult.
Yeah, now when I know grammar, I know a lot of words, and it's very easy just to speak with native speakers and with you, and just practice my speech. But it was very difficult when I tried to learn it. To learn it at school because our teacher was just cruel. You know, I hated her. I, and then at courses we had that teacher man, and I can't remember his name, but I hated him also. I don't know why.
So maybe some I don't know, strange things connected with teachers of English language. So Mary, what about you? Is it difficult for you?
No, now it's not difficult. Maybe now I'm a little bit easier. I don't want uh, remind grammar. For me now,
What maybe in your mind?
fresh in my mind. I don't know why I don't want to see it and learn a little bit because I start forgot it. And sometimes I forgot some words, but it's not difficult.
So it's possible to cope with it, yeah?
Yeah, I watch movies, so I all time something new, something something new.
So Ulvi, what about you?
I also agree with guys. It's a little bit easier now, but all in all, there are also difficulties too.
So about difficulties a little bit later, it will be my next question. So I know that you can predict my questions, but you shouldn't.
All right. Now it's easier for me.
Oh, nice. Alexander?
It's not easy for me. That's why I wait for next question.
So I think that you will speak, you will give a really great answer for my next question because we're going to speak about difficulties
Yes.
in learning and how often do you cope with, no, how often do you face with difficulties in learning English? So Mary,
How often what?
do you face with difficulties?
Now, not when I speak. When I start speak, and I know that I can build a right sentence, but I forgot maybe some details about grammar. Forgot about I don't know verb, about place this word in the sentence, and miss something, and sometimes miss some words in sentence. So and forgot.
I give you a little hint.
Ending.
Yes, endings in present simple.
Yeah, it's for me it's problem. And sometimes, not sometimes, really often forgot about perfect tense, so use only simple and sometimes continuous tense, and I don't know why. And don't use maybe passive also.
I see, yes.
So I maybe lazy in English and try go for easy way and build really simple sentence.
But it's easy to understand it.
But speech not really fluently and sounds boring. I think will be better to use more vocabulary. But I know, but forgot all time.
Forget all the time, so can. Ulvi, what
Yeah.
about you? How often do you face with difficulties?
Firstly, difficulties when I heard or listen someone who speak too influently or quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Fluently,
Yeah.
you meant, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yes, yes.
It's really difficult. Everybody don't understand him.
I
It's
know
you.
advice. Take,
Alexander advised me to attend Thomas's lesson, but I just looked through it and decided not to.
He also speaks too fluently, and from the first time it's too difficult to catch what he wants to say.
It's
And another difficult.
only get
Yeah,
used to. You should only get used to for his speech. That's all. And after that you understand him. You will understood him.
possible. And another difficulty is when I want to tell my ideas, I can't explain everything how I want. So it's one of the difficulties which I face.
So, and a little bit about plural and singular nouns. Yes, also a little hint. Yeah. So, Alexander, what about you? How often do you face with difficulties?
I often stumble in unknown words. It's problem of my vocabulary. I know I should read more in English, but I am a safe energy person. That's why it's difficult for me.
So, but maybe you save your energy for something greater than only learning English. So, and Kate?
I faced face with difficulties every time when I try to speak. You know, because it's the most difficult part in learning English for me. I try. No, I know that I need more practice, and I try to speak English every day, but it's still very difficult.
So, and how, also the question for all of you, how do you cope with these difficulties? So, Ulvi,
Excuse me, can you repeat? I couldn't understand.
how do you cope with difficulties?
How I cope with difficulties?
Yes.
What the meaning I couldn't catch.
Cope with, how do you try to make some situation to, so you have some difficulties, yes, you have some problems, and you do something in order not to have these problems. So it means to cope with, справиться.
All right. Actually, I don't know. For instance, when I heard someone who speak fluently, I'm trying to concentrate what you want to say. When I concentrate, yes, of course, it's I can catch some words. For instance, when I even try to test for IELTS listening, yeah, when I sit and listen very carefully and concentrate in it, not hurt another voices, yeah, what's around me. Then I catch more words, which is how it's possible. For instance, today I catch the 35 correct answers from 40.
Oh, I
It's
think
quite
it's a great
good.
result.
Yeah, it's my the best result during the old time.
I think you can be proud of it, really. So, Alexander, what about you? How do you cope with these difficulties?
When I face with difficult situation, I stop, save my energy, and try to do my best.
Oh, so stop dreaming, just doing, yes. Kate, what about you?
I just try to practice my English every day, try to speak every day, and learn someone new, and watch movie, and revise grammar and words, and
Words,
so on.
yes. And words and verbs, everything.
It's a difficult one. Or, yeah.
So, and Mary?
Practice. That's all.
So practice helps you to cope with everything, yes?
I think it's only one way to get success.
And the last my question before we start reading about difficulties with which cope people all over the world. So what is the most difficult part in learning English for you? So, Alexander.
For me, is the most difficult part of learning English is vocabulary, to remember active vocabulary. Yeah, I often forgot words which I learned earlier. Yes, I think I need practice.
I think you should speak with Mary, because it seems to me that Mary knows all vocabulary. So if you miss something or if you forget, just find Mary and she will explain everything for you.
Okay.
So Kate, what about you?
For me, as I had already said, is speaking English and especially using all my vocabulary and grammar. For example, I know a lot of idioms, but I can't using it, and I use them very rarely. I just afraid that I use it wrong, and that's why I try not to use it.
What do you use them?
And it's very confusing sometimes. Yeah.
So Mary?
I also have bad memory. Sometimes I know that I know this word, but I forgot it, and I can remember only first letter, and it's killing me. And
Mary, don't tell that you have bad memory. Just, I'm not sure about English translation, but just tell that you have girl memory. So, girl memory, everything is alright. It's not a problem.
but sometimes it takes some time when you try remember a word, and it seems like person little bit stupid when you think about answer few seconds. You try remember some word, but it's like long thingsful process. It seems like. And for me, difficult. It's phrasal verb, because sometimes you don't know what is really mean when you met this word. Sometimes it's really
And really, I hate when phrasal verb has a lot of meanings. So how can I guess which meaning is used now? It's horrible, really. Phrasal verbs. Oh.
And when it's one word, not phrasal, and how to say?
Phrasal verb. What?
Verb and preposition.
Yes.
When it's one word, it's different meaning also. It can be two words and it can be one word, and it's everything change in this case. So it's also, for me, it's really, really terrible situation, because a lot this verb in English.
But really, Mary, I can advise you one magazine, really. So in this magazine, there is always a page when there are the most common phrasal verbs and according to verbs. So the most so which you can use in your speech. So with go, with come, with, and there are maybe 20 or 10 phrasal verbs, but they're really often used in speech, so you shouldn't learn all meaning and all phrasal verbs with these verbs. So just the most common in speech, and really it's easy, I think.
I make a little bit different. I make some I don't know, some verb. I don't know.
Maybe table. I don't know.
Not table, набор.
Set.
Set with this like example with go, with take, and after that training this word. So I in one side I makes my own set with this verb or maybe with some idiom. So I makes my set with idiom in passive, like example, and I training it all time when I want.
So it's also can be a good way to learn them.
Easy.
And Ulvi, what about your difficulties?
Yeah, I think that everybody has the problem with the using of words when they speak, uh, because we can't use all the words which we learn, and such kind of problem also when we write an essays, the same thing as a speech, yeah.
Yeah.
But when we read and when we listen, we can understand more than when we more words than when we speak and write. So it's one of the problems of all of us. And another problem which I have is with times. I can't
Oh.
understand even. Also, I read it a lot of times, but after I don't know few hours, I forgot all the rules and I can't use them.
Oh, it's better because I had the same problem, but I don't know really how, but it started to be clear for me. I even so maybe you should really. My advice for you is to read the 6 round up, so everything is quite clear and easy to understand, and according to some points. So, for example, present simple and first point of usage, second point of usage, third point, and it stays in your memory and forever. I can tell because now I remember it.
Excuse me, can you repeat the name of book?
Yes, I can write it. Round
Round up 6.
oh, 6. Oh.
Alright.
And now also I'm giving you a link to follow, and we are going to read about difficulties in learning English of people around the world. So, does it work?
Yeah.
Sorry. No. I,
It doesn't work.
no.
So should I send it one more time?
Maybe.
So, oh, it's a problem.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's okay.
Yes.
So, Alexander, please read for us about tell, the
About
first guy.
Tay. Okay. I would say pronunciation. There is something with French people that just will not click with certain English pronunciations. So that's going to be my lifelong goal, to pronounce things correctly. Pronounce things correctly.
Correctly, good. So, Kate, read for us, please, about Ashley.
Ashley, where is Ashley?
Because actually, I combined them because 3 of these people have the same problem. So we just read about these problems and then discuss. Yes.
Okay.
So, Ashley.
Ashley, I would say probably pronunciation and spelling because of the amount of R vowel combination that we have. I'd say it's the hardest to figure out how to spell and how to pronounce. pronounce.
good. And Mary, read please about Julia.
Julia, the hardest part, well, mine is to have a very good pronunciation, because in there's some things you have to say in English.
Mary, it's I don't know. It sounds like his verbal, not communicative speech. You know, when there's a person walking on the street and you came to him and ask him something about, and he thinks about it. So and and always repeats it. So you shouldn't err. So just a little bit pause.
Okay.
It seems like he speaks really, and his speech tried to be written.
Some things you have to say in English that that's not the sounds doesn't exist in Portuguese. So it sometimes is a little bit difficult for you to speak it really properly.
Yes, good. And I have a question to all of you. Is it difficult for you to make right pronunciation? So, Ulvi.
I think that actually in most cases it's not too difficult to pronounce. It's just sometimes when you confuse the words and try to pronounce it, maybe it's possible, but now I think just a little bit problems, not important.
Not important. So, Alexander, what about you?
Yes, for me it's difficult to pronounce exactly correct.
Is it all the explanation?
I don't know what to add. It's difficult. Because I don't know. Maybe my ear, maybe bear stopped on my ear.
So, an elephant, yes, jumping on your ears. So,
Maybe.
Kate, what about you?
It's difficult when only when I try to speak fast, quickly, you know. But when I speak slowly, it's okay. I don't have any troubles with it.
So good, Mary.
Yes, I think it's difficult because it's not native language, and not always we know how correct read this word. So sometimes it's really difficult.
And you know that intonation is also counted to pronunciation. So what about intonation? Is it difficult to intonate foreign phrases, Alexander?
Yes, I don't know rules of foreign intonation. I use Russian intonation.
Kate?
Yeah, I know about it, and at the university we always practice it. But you know, when I speak with native speakers, where they always not to mention it, you know. I don't know why.
They also
Does
don't use this intonation.
Huh?
They also don't use this intonation.
They use, but they never correct me when I use wrong intonation, you know. Just Russian intonation is the key for them. It works.
Well, really, it's very sad because some students are taught intonation at university and some students are not taught. I am the student who wasn't taught intonation, so for me it's very difficult to. But really, I was taught Russian intonation because several lessons we taught how to speak in Russian and how to intonate Russian constructions. So I'm not sure that it was very useful for my learning English, but in general, French system of education. So, Mary, what about you and your intonation?
I have problem with intonation in Russian. Sometimes people don't understand me, and I don't know. I forgot about sentence when I talk. Sometimes I'm in my mind, so it's okay. But we have little bit the same intonation. I think we have when we make question, we also make stress in the end of sentence, and when we have usual sentence, we have stress in the start of sentence. So it's little bit the same. But in Russian, it's easy because we can make question without some word like
You mean
without be.
question words, yes?
Yes, we
But
use.
it's possible to do the same in English, so is it table?
But it's not really common. Sometimes people can't understand. But in Russian, we use only intonation and maybe a question mark, and for us it's enough. So it can be a problem when we talk in English because we sometimes we get used to use only intonation in Russian, and we in our head we translate this question, we try use only intonation too.
So also can be problem. Ulvi, what about you? Your intonation.
I agree with Mary too. I think that the English and the Russian intonation is almost similar. Maybe we don't know the rules of English intonation, but when we use the Russian rules, it really works. Yeah.
So really, I can't agree because really, as for me, when I listen to their speech and listen some I don't know songs and something else, so it's really different from me because I even can't find something in common with them. So just I think it's only my opinion, and that's all. So, and the next, my question, how do you work at your pronunciation? So, Kate.
Sometimes I try to do some, tongue twisters. You know what is it? Скороговорки.
I remember something about butter, and I bought the butter and the butter beater. And
Yeah. I try to do it sometimes. And of course, I watch a lot of movie, and sometimes I try to repeat some phrases, some common phrases, and it helps. Yeah.
You know, at university we had such activity as to, so we watched cartoons and then we turn off sound and did the same, but with our voices, but so trying to repeat their intonation and their way of pronunciation. Something, it was really funny.
It's funny. Yeah. I'll try to do it.
Really try, because it's very funny, especially when you find some funny movie, some funny cartoon in general, and you will laugh, I'm sure. So, Mary, how do you work with your pronunciation?
Speak with you, and Michael sometimes correct me.
Oh.
Not sometimes, very often correct me when I say it, or when I say something wrong.
So it's fun because Michael also sometimes corrects me. So,
I correct everyone.
yes. Ulvi.
Yes, actually, I'm not trying too hard for improving my pronunciation. But sometimes when I listen to the music, I also trying to repeat the words, how they say it. Maybe it's a little bit help me to pronounce.
Do you really think that it is a good idea to repeat words as they are pronounced in songs?
I don't know. In most cases, they sing more differently, not pronounce the words how they are, but just for the tempo of the music, yeah. For the tempo of the
once I tried to learn vocabulary according to songs, and when I learned it and started to use it, everyone was in shock because all stresses, all pronunciation was horrible. And you know, it's a great song. I like it very much. In Insomnia, it was pronounced in song, but in general, when I started to use it as insomnia, my teachers insomnia because right, and that's why I stopped doing it and always check transcription at some sites because it's horrible, really.
Possible.
So, what?
Possible, yeah.
So, Ulvi, read for us about Laura.
Laura, yeah. I would imagine getting the grammar right would be the hardest, because I still mess up a lot on English grammar anyway, even though it's my first language.
Oh, yes, and you know that this person, she's from Ireland. Yes, you paid attention on it. She's from Great Britain practically, but from United States. No, this helped me because I can't remember the name of this. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Yes. So even for her, it's difficult to revise, to remember all grammar. So, what about you? What is the most difficult part in learning grammar? So, Alexander.
In learning grammar, um, mm, um, maybe I don't know, to remember how correct how spelling correct adverb or adjective. I often mix them. I don't know. Is it?
So you can't find the difference between adjectives and adverbs, yes?
Yes.
Oh, it's strange, but something really difficult in English grammar because there are some verbs, and we should use after that adjectives, and after some verbs we should use adverbs, and it's really difficult to remember. So, Kate, what about you?
For me, the most difficult part in grammar is articles, because I always mess up them. It's very difficult for me to use right articles.
So, Kate, I can advise you the same book as Turvi because also in this book articles are explained very well. So also it's not difficult to remember because they're separated into two columns, and article A, there without articles, and I think it's also not very difficult to remember.
I remember all the explanation about it, but I need a little time to remember remember this explanation and use article. And always I just say something between they and it's okay.
I think it sounds very strange.
Yeah.
So Mary, what about you and your grammar?
I don't know. I think it's verb, because all structure we can remember because we can understand it. But a verb, maybe a table of verb, maybe another kind of verb, it's we should learn it by heart. So that's why it's more difficult for
So
me.
for you, this part of grammar is difficult, yes?
Yes.
Ulvi?
Yes. As I said before, the most difficult part in a grammar for me is the times. So one of the big problems. Using
So the biggest,
right
but it's when I hear it, it seems very strange because then it starts sequences of times, yes, if clauses and some really horrible things, wishes and something else, and to speak about times, it's really very funny because there are really great and difficult grammar. So, Alexander, please read for us Laura from the USA.
Laura will say, but okay, I'm actually teaching some little students right now who are about 8 or 9, and they are not native English speakers. And the hardest thing for them is learning to differentiate between
Differentiate between.
the grammar and English grammar. They'll try to say things in English using the grammar structures that are in their native language, and it just gets really confusing.
So good, just Alexander, grammar, but not grammar. Grammar.
Grammar.
So they have a question. So are there a lot of differences between your language and English? Or in general, between your native language and English grammar? So that way. So Kate.
Of course, there is a difference between English and Russian, because
We speak about grammar between Russian grammar and English grammar.
yes, there is a difference. For example, in structure of sentences, in English it's more, I don't know how to say,
Stable.
Huh?
More stable.
Yeah, more stable than in Russia.
Parts of speech.
Yeah.
But in general, really, when I finished reading Roundup, the 6, and the last paragraph was about inversion in English language, and
Yeah.
I really understood that all I thought before wasn't important, because now we have inversion and the understanding that each word can be everywhere in the sentences. It was really horrible. So why did I learn previous wrong information? I can speak wrong and just tell that it's my inversion.
Yeah, we learned in Russia also. It was our last lesson in university.
It's horrible topic, and I think you shouldn't know about it.
Yeah, they shouldn't have told us about it.
It really breaks the system.
It's so it's so confusing, and you think, wow, why you told me about it? Why?
A bit earlier.
Yeah, it's frustrating always.
So, Mary, what about you? Are there a lot of differences between Ukrainian grammar and English grammar?
We also have 3 times, but we don't have form of time, I think. But I'm not sure about it. But in Ukrainian,
Mary, I tell you, as a person who also a Russian philologist, we also have different system tenses, even
yeah,
in
I understand
Russian
that
language
we have
also.
continuous form also, and we have perfect also.
Yes.
But in Russian we have подъезд, we have gerund, and it's difficult, or it's different between English. But fortunately, in English we don't have this. It's make language more easy.
Easier, Mary. Easy
Yeah.
to tell. So, Udi,
Yes,
are there a lot of differences between your native language grammar and English grammar?
between the Russian and English, of course, I think there is a lot of differences, but between my native language and the English, there is a little bit differences. For instance, we also didn't have the endings for words. It's easy for me to understand.
So, but in English grammar, this part is absent.
Yeah.
Fortunately, really. So, are there anything else?
The construction of the sentence is the same, I think. Maybe a little bit different with as a, the, something like it's a. What is it? Prepositions, yeah? A and the, for instance, yeah? Yeah, we didn't have any.
Oh, maybe it's
prepositions
articles
like
a
that.
and the.
Articles, yeah,
Articles.
articles like that. So maybe, and another difference is that.
So we also have a lot of differences. And Alexander, compare your native grammar and English grammar.
Engines in
Engines. Energy-saving person doesn't want to combine it into sentences, just short. So, and I think it was the last problem we are going to discuss today, and I really hope that some pieces of advice each of you gave to this group will help you to practice your English and to get rid of some difficulties and to cope with these difficulties. And I hope that it will help you to make your learning English easier. So thank you that you were with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
And bye. I'm also going to run to eat something.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Goodbye. Goodbye.